This is Angela Alston. Welcome to Astro Highlights for November 12th through the 18th, 2023. We have a lot going on this week in the cosmos. But first, let me welcome you to the Scorpion Table. This is a feature I have over on my blog, and it has some menu ideas and meal ideas so that you can align yourself to the solar energy of the season. It's a way of astrological eating, is a way of eating seasonally and aligning your microcosm to the macrocosm. And then there's also remembering who transforms you. Now, this is a narrative writing exercise for Scorpio season. It's over at my blog. That's www.angelaalstonastrology.com. Okay. So planetary progress for this week. The sun is in Scorpio and it's traveling from 21 degrees 27 to 26 degrees 43. The moon is a new moon. So it is in Scorpio, starting the week in Scorpio, traveling to 12 degrees Aquarius, 12 degrees to Aquarius. Oh, wait, hold on, get back here. And what else do we have? We have Mercury in Scorpio traveling from 1124 to 2223. And then we have Venus in Libra traveling from 419 to 1209. Mars is in Scorpio, very close to the sun. As you can see, it's traveling 2127 to 2623. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Jupiter is in Taurus, re-traveling 916 to 823. It is still retrograde. But Saturn is not still retrograde. It is in Pisces, traveling direct from 34 minutes Pisces to 42 minutes Pisces. Very grateful for that Saturn direct energy. I've been hearing from people that it has made a difference in the past couple of weeks. Things that had been very stuck are getting some traction. So 4 things to talk about this week, and that is starting with the new moon in Scorpio. And this is a new moon that is tinged with Mars, because Mars, again, is so close to the sun, and with Uranus. Uranus, which is in opposition to the new moon and to the sun and to Mars. And next we're going to talk about the sun and Mars and how united they are right now and what that really means for Mars, and how they are kind of approaching their planetary configurations, particularly with the outer planets. They are hitting just about every outer planet this week, and how they are approaching that kind of as a dynamic duo, kind of as a team. So in that, there's going to be an opposition to Uranus, a trine to Neptune, and a sextile to Pluto. And then we're going to finish on talking about the Venus sextile Mercury aspect, which really gets going around November 14th, lasts through the end of the week. And by the end of the week, it expands into a minor grand trine, or what we call a talent triangle. And this is with Venus, Mercury, and the moon. So new moon in Scorpio. New moons are seeding times. The sky is dark. It's full of potential. There are times to rest, but also to make plans, to plant those seeds. And in Scorpio, the energy really supports self-excavation with the goal of transforming pain, trauma, and healing. Scorpio is a season when the light, at least in the northern hemisphere, leaves. And symbolically, that means it's a time of surrender, of preparation for darker, harder times to come, and of release. It's a time for dealing with grief, trauma. A lot of really powerful healing work can be done in the Scorpio season, shadow work. And the Scorpio new moon is really ripe for that. And ultimately, it's about letting go of what doesn't serve you. Scorpio energy, still water, fixed. It can hold on, and it can hold on to pain and trauma long after the expiration date for that. Long after they end, those situations are teaching you anything. And so this is a time to really invite yourself to have the courage to let go of old conflict, old pain. And it's an interesting new moon, partly because it's a little bit of a paradox. New moons are seeding times. They are dark sky, often a time of rest. And yet this new moon is very martial because Mars is right there. And Mars, particularly in Scorpio, really favors strategic action. Mars is about action. Scorpio is about strategy. You're not just running in blindly, swords blazing. You are carefully plotting. And so this is a wonderful time to seed some strategic plans for actions that you're going to take around whatever part of life that Scorpio rules for you. And you can find that out by, of course, looking at your chart and seeing what house is the Scorpio house for you. So moving on, the Sun and Mars are conjunct in Scorpio pretty much all week. They're tracking together. And this is pure creative power. Mars is often referred to as the right hand of the Sun in astrology. And the two together, they're almost joining forces, and they are a force to be dealt with. The Sun in this situation is leading, and Mars is offering its energy and power to the Sun's will. The Sun is generative and creative energy. It focuses on life and growth. Scorpio, again, it holds the power for creative transformation. As a feminine water sign, Scorpio is deeply nurturing, self-nurturing. It's able and big enough to hold all of the parts of you, even the ugly bits, and you might say almost especially the ugly bits, the shadow parts, what you keep hidden, what you might have shame around. This is a time that asks you to bring this material into the light so that you can transform it. Mars in Scorpio traditionally is very strong, but Mars is not strong right now. And that's because it's combust. No planet can compete, not even Jupiter, with the sun. So Mars being this close to the sun, it doesn't have its own free will. That's what I was saying, where right now the sun is truly leading Mars. It is fusing together. The Martian energy is fusing together with the solar principle. This is a time to take action. Creative action, healing action. It's very powerful on an individual level. And the Sun and Mars are engaging with a lot of outer planets this week, and they're engaging with them as a dyad, as that dynamic duo. It's very difficult when Mars is this close to the sun to really tease out what's Mars and what's the sun. They're merging together. And so this week, it's going to probably be a very dramatic week. However, I want to kind of talk when things are happening with outer planets. That doesn't tend to show up quite as strongly in the individual's life. Outer planets tend to have really large, diffuse impacts. They influence generational events, the social fabric, even the climate. And they can have reverberations that are long lasting. And they particularly, outer planets generationally, particularly imprint the generations, the babies that are born when they're active in the sky, as well as the social movements. So this week begins with an opposition between Sun and Mars with Uranus. Uranus is in Taurus, shaking things up financially, and when it comes to the actual Earth itself. Oppositions can be very stubborn things, difficult to resolve. You know, it's squares that really give that creative, dynamic resolution. Oppositions tend to teach us that there are some baked-in tensions, and the two sides may not necessarily ever meet. But they also give us an opportunity to reflect on two ways to approach a situation, two very different options. Now, when you have Mars and Uranus in opposition, that is a time of heightened electrical activity, explosions, accidents, volcanic activity. And it's a time of sudden, and that's the Uranus, sudden and often devastating endings. Uranus is the great castrator. And what ends during this time? It's over. It's a watershed. There is no fixing. And it doesn't really help to look back with nostalgia. These are changes, and often radical big changes that happen and set a new paradigm and a new dynamic in action, in motion. So yeah, we're starting with a kind of big opposition, and it's big because the sun's involved. It would be big anyway. Mars Uranus is a lot of friction, again, a lot of electricity, earthquakes, volcanoes, financial markets. But it softens as the week progresses. Mars and the sun engage into a trine with Neptune. And you almost can't get more different than an opposition with Uranus and a trine with Neptune. Neptune, it's softer. It tends to dissolve. It wants compassion and escapism. The Neptune is what is beautiful, magical, the best of our natures, but it's often deceptive. Neptune can be a cloud, very cloudy energy. And I'll tell you, for those who struggle with addiction issues, Mars trine Neptune can be very challenging because there's the desire, Mars, to escape Neptune. And that channels an open channel this week. The energies between the two flow smoothly. And that can be really dangerous. So if you are somebody who does struggle with addiction, this is a time to reach out to your network, get to a meeting, do whatever it is you do, but be aware that those hungers, may very well be activated this week. However, there's always the shadow side and the bright side. If channeled well, Mars Sun trine Neptune can be very creative, magically creative, particularly for those in the visual arts, music, photography, what have you. And then by the end of the week, the Sun-Mars dynamic duo is in sextile with Pluto. So the energies are flowing smoothly between Sun, Mars in Scorpio and Pluto in Capricorn. Now, this is a time of deep drive, ambition, and finding creative solutions to achieve your goals. And let's hope that those goals are honorable goals, that they are goals worth achieving. Because Mars, when in Scorpio, in a friendly aspect to Pluto, is extremely, extremely effective. So this is a time to hone your ambition and to go for it. Now, on a more personal level, Venus, which is a personal, intimate planet, sextiles Mercury, which is also a personal, intimate planet. Venus is in Libra, and Venus is very effective in Libra. Venus is at home in Libra, it's in chariot in Libra, and in the back pocket is Saturn, which is exalted in Libra. Venus in Libra is very persuasive, and it really knows how to read the room, read its audience, and in sextile with Mercury, how to craft the message so that your communication is very persuasive, pleasing and persuasive to those who hear it. And that's a very powerful thing. By the end of the week, so this sextile really gets juiced around November 14th, lasts through the end of the week. And at the end of the week, and by the end of the week, I mean Saturday night, it's picking up the moon in Aquarius. The moon in Aquarius is forming a trine to Venus in Libra, and both Venus and the moon are sextiling Mercury in Sagittarius. This is called a minor trine or a talent triangle. And the focus of the talent triangle in this configuration is Mercury. So this is a great time to get your big ideas, right? Mercury in Sag thinks big. Get your big ideas out there in a way that they will go over and land very well. However, this talent triangle, it's fleeting. It's fleeting because one of the legs is the moon in Aquarius, and the moon moves fast. But don't sleep on this sextile this week. Venus sextile Mercury really helps you grease the social wheels. It can help with making plans that are effective. Venus in Libra is effective. It works. It's in its rulership right now. And Venus and Mercury are personal planets. So this is something that's really available to you, much more so than what's going on with Pluto and Neptune and Uranus, which is, out there. This is in here. This is how you think and how you want. And one of the lovely things here is that your thoughts and your desires are in step with each other. They're aligned. And that has great social potential, but also great creative potential. So to recap, we have a new moon in Scorpio that favors planning for strategic action. The focus on taking action with this energy because of how close it is to Mars. And the Sun and Mars are a dynamic duo this week in conjunction, merged. This makes it very difficult to tease out, what's Sun, what's Mars. They're really in lockstep throughout the whole week, and there's a ton of drama with the outer planets. But again, the outer planets, unless they are really figured strongly in your chart, each person is individual, has different relationships with them, but as a very generalized rule, they tend to show up more in the social sphere, on the large social scale, climate and geopolitical as well. But on the personal front, there's a great aspect between Libra Venus and Mercury in Sag this week. And then it gets complemented and expanded to a talent triangle by the Aquarius moon at the end of the week, making for what could be a really, really lovely weekend next weekend. I hope that you make the most of it. We all need this right now, I think. And finally, before we go, contact me with your relationship question for my upcoming podcast. Email me at angelaalstonastrology@gmail.com, subject podcast, so I know it's not just a horary question. And if it is something that fits, I will offer you a free horary reading, and you get to be a part of my upcoming podcast. How exciting is that? And finally, thank you. Thank you for listening. But bigger than that, thank you for using astrology as a tool for understanding yourselves and the world. It's brave. And, I have to say it's a very smart choice. And I deeply appreciate knowing that I'm part of a community of people who are looking for answers and who are looking outside of themselves, and are willing to kind of take that creative leap. So that's what I got this week. I hope you have a wonderful week, and as always, I am here for you. Email me at angelaalstonastrology@gmail.com if you'd like a natal reading or have a horary question. Take care. Thanks a lot.